Hey everybody, Fu here with part 5 Bravo of Build Your Havoc Trooper. We're going to go ahead and look at the rest of the thighs. I'll show you what I went ahead and did here. This is where we were yesterday with the camera completely out of focus. There we go. Alright, we put our shims. This is on the inside of the leg on the diamond side. And then on the outside of the leg I put the shims on the other side there. And you can still see the numbers where we line those up. Okay. I stole a page out of Woodchuck's playbook here, and I went with a solid clamp. Basically, I just took a piece of 2x4, I set it down, set the edge of the piece that I wanted to do on it. Actually, we used a longer edge here. Set it down on the wood so that the wood was centered about halfway, and then I just traced this edge. And then marked where the top and bottoms were. Had to do a little bit of trimming at the top of the edge. And then what I did is I took that wood to a bandsaw and I just cut along that line that I drew, and it matches up with the shape. So after first thing I did is I clamped the small side, clamp on each side, and then I glued up all my shims, got them in place, made sure everything was lined up, flipped it on the bottom, put this piece on the table, and then put the corresponding piece on the back, made sure that all my lines matched up going across, put a big clamp on that end, big clamp on that end, and you can see it's touching on almost all the points. Obviously it was a quick job, it wasn't a huge woodworking project, but it gives you a lot more pressure all the way across, which is a problem we had when we built the Republic Commando. So I stole a page out of Woodchuck's playbook. Thanks, Woodchuck. And you can use that. He actually builds them where he's got one end hinged, and then the other end he's got a bolt that comes through with a wing nut that screws down. They're really nice, and this will do the same thing. Just to save time, I used big clamps, and then there was one spot in the middle that wasn't working, so I just weighted it down with a bunch of crap. But you can do the same thing on both sides. So I highly recommend building yourself a quick wood clamp for the thighs, and that will help you out tremendously. You'll get good exposure to all your glue parts, and you should have no trouble at all with those holding together. And remember, put a lot of devcon on the seam, so when you squeeze it together, it's going to come up through, and hopefully it'll bubble out a little bit. When you sand that down, that's like your Bondo. Again, I don't like to use Bondo on plastic because this plastic moves, we bump into things, Bondo breaks. Bondo's not meant to be flexible. So use the glue. You're going to sand it all down. I use a real high grit paper. A couple people have asked about that on videos, and right now on my Black & Decker Mini Mouse sander, these things are awesome. I'm using this is great footage, I know. I'm using a 50 grit down there. I don't know if you can see it or not. But it's real coarse, and yes, it'll look like it's chewing up the plastic. But remember, you're going to be weathering this anyway. So use the 50 to get your glue knocked down. And then maybe switch to 100, 120. Smooth it out. If you've still got gaps and areas you can feel when you run your finger across it with your eyes closed, then you need to put a little more glue in there and fill in the gaps. If you can feel it, you'll see it when you paint it. So that's going to be the thighs, and I think you'll be pretty happy with it. So remember, lots of devcon, and always use it in a well ventilated place. Alright, we'll see you for the calves I think we're doing next in part 6.